All right, let's talk about our boy.
I want some rest. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so we're going to talk about Jabari Walker, in which I have not addressed Jabari Walker at all. Like, I have not talked about him much at all. But hey, this is an opportunity. So as it stands right now, he's projected to go late in the second round. Now, as far as do I agree with that, disagree with that, I agree that he's going to be in the second round, but that's pretty harsh. So I'll give you my thoughts on him. So first and foremost, as we always do, we'll go into the stats, and then I'll give my overall thoughts, what type of player I believe he is, and then we'll look at the pros and cons and see if I agree with any of it or disagree. So let's go ahead and jump into the stats as promised. We got 14.6 points per game, 9.4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 46 field goal percentage. And as we can see here, there's nothing that jumps off the page that gets you overly excited, but I will say he's a pretty good consistent scorer. Now, there's a few games where obviously he slipped up that kind of hurt his percentage to bring it down to 46 even. But if you kind of look around, you see that no, he's a pretty good score. There's a lot of 6 for 10s in here, 6 for 12, 5 for 10, 4 for 12. Ain't terrible. It's not good, but not terrible. 9 for 11. So he had a few games where he did go off, and a few games where he kind of slipped up, but hey, it is what it is. One thing about him as well is I don't believe that he played a ton when he was a freshman. So sophomore year was kind of his freshman year in a way. So I'm not going to necessarily just harp on the fact that, well, he's a sophomore and he should play better. Not necessarily. I think he was fine. Another thing too that I want to bring up is he was kind of a double machine. And it shows in his stats too, like his overall season stats, but even throughout these games, you see some where it's like, oh my goodness, 19 points, 15 rebounds, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 22 points, 13 rebounds. Like, he is a rebounding machine. 24 points, 11 rebounds, 18 points, 13 rebounds. So he definitely shows a lot of effort on that side of the ball. So I just wanted to throw those stats out there, but that's not really what matters here, because obviously with him being projected a late second round, it's more to the story, right? So as far as what I've seen thus far about Jabari Walker is that he's just really raw. I don't think that it's necessarily that he doesn't, play well or play a good game. He hasn't gotten to show a lot of his shot creating ability. More often than not, if you look him up, you're going to see a lot of catch and shoot. You're going to see a lot of pick and pops, and you're going to see some pretty nice finishes, but you're not going to see a ton of shot creation. But I will say this, one thing that's very positive about him, while he's raw and while he makes, a few mistakes here and there, one thing that I've noticed is that he is really good at attacking mismatches. Like, he is a very high IQ player, and when he sees the mismatch, he's going to go after it. He's not going to be afraid to attack it. Kind of like Jason Tatum in game 3 of the finals. The finals are going on right now. That's why I'm talking about that. But anyways, all I'm trying to say is he's the type of player that he's going to he knows who he is as a player. He knows his size, and he tries to utilize it to the best of his ability. Doesn't always pan out. Oftentimes he does get his shot packing. All right. He does commit turnovers here and there, but overall, I will say that there's a lot of promise there. There's a few things that he has to work on, obviously, but I think the best way to describe him is raw, but there's a lot that you can get out of him. And I do believe that with his size, with his length, with his smarts, I think he'll be able to go to that next level, and he'll make his way or make his path in the NBA, if you will. So I just want to throw that out there. I hope that was a decent breakdown to kind of explain how I feel about him. But yeah, it's not a ton there where I can just give you a whole bunch. But I will say this too, and this is the last thing I'm gonna end on, then we'll go into pros and cons. I'll say this: defensively, he's the man. Like, he's a really good defender. He actually reminds me, and you might disagree with this, but he kind of reminds me of Andrew Wiggins defensively. Okay, not offensively, but defensively, he definitely reminds me of Andrew Wiggins. Just the way that he moves his feet, the way that he uses length. Just his natural instincts. He's a really good defender. So that's one thing that's definitely going to keep him in the NBA. And the offense, it's just something that he's going to have to work on. Actually, I do want to add one more thing. His free throw percentage is a really good sign that his shooting. So if you're afraid, even though this isn't bad by any means, 46% and 45%, like that's not bad. That's pretty good. But if you're taking him late in the second round and you're like, oh man, he's an okay shooter, just keep in mind that he's averaging nearly 80% from the free throw line. So there's a lot of promise there. He could potentially become a really, really good shooter in the NBA. And this isn't bad. This is like really good. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. All right, so pros and cons. 6'8", 200 pounds, out of Colorado. He played for the Buffaloes. Pros: decent shooter, especially from deep. Excels at scoring and off-ball motion plays. Good rebounder. Yeah, we talked about that. Actually, great rebounder. Decent defender. I would say really good defender. Solid athlete. Yeah, sure. Lacks an elite first step off the dribble. Needs to improve his playmaking skills. Can be unfocused defensively. Is quite foul prone. I think that just comes down to that rawness. Didn't play enough as a freshman. Oh, shoot. Well, dang. Actually, you know what? Since it's brought up, and I did mention it, let's go ahead and just look at it. Yeah, here we go. Yep. Only 14 minutes per game. That's not enough to see anything from a guy. I mean, 14 minutes. That's not enough. That's nothing. Yeah, that's nothing. He started in no games and then he played 26. Yeah, no. How about no? Let's go ahead and go into the summary. Jabari Walker is an athletic combination forward that can shoot and score the basketball. He didn't play much as a freshman, but he was very efficient as a shot maker on offense in limited minutes. He will need to tighten up his ball handling skills, yes, and cut down on fouls so he can stay on the floor. He's raw. If Walker can get consistent playing time this year, he could be due to a breakout sophomore. Oh, this is before. Interesting. This is actually before his sophomore year. Interesting. So I did not know that. So yeah, so cool. I wonder what they would say now. I guess it's because he's so far down in the second round that even NBA Scouting Live wouldn't even be able to talk about him that much, or didn't get to him because maybe they're not even maybe they're afraid he won't go drafted. I think he'll get drafted, obviously. But anyways, I really like him. I hope that this kind of gave you some type of idea of what type of player he is, or at least at the very least, just how I feel about him. I like him. I like him a lot. I do. I like him. I think he'll be fine. There might be some better players available, but shoot, man, if he's there and you know he really impressed you as far as like workouts with a team, I get it. I completely understand it. There's a lot there to like, and he has some huge potential, you know, that's kind of hidden underneath. So you guys let me know what you think. If you want to support the channel, only $2 a month. Patreon and YouTube members, link in the description. Until next time, deuces.